Dan, how long ago did you join Real?
I joined Real 2 years ago. I was at Keller Williams before that. I thought I was going to be a Keller Williams guy for life. Um, Obviously, my entrepreneurship background, I really didn't care much for my brokerage, like in brokerage in general. I was more of like, yeah, they're going to hold my license. I'm going to run my business. Because my entrepreneurship background, I knew that it was like I am responsible for my leads. I am responsible for my business. Like the brokerage is, at the end of the day, isn't doing much for me. Um, and then it just came down to the time, and I met enough people that I was like, why is everyone that I'm learning from, why is everyone that I'm talking to at this place, and yet I'm whenever I go into the office at KW, everyone's asking me questions. Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And yet everyone that I was learning from to give those answers was from Real. So yeah, I made the choice to leave.
What was it about Real that sparked your interest other than the people that were already here?
Entrepreneurship opportunities, as in Keller Williams really wanted to own my brand. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not trying to sound like crazy, but they really wanted me to continue cross promoting them. I know there are brokers, and obviously every brokerage is, and I'm not supposed to sit here and say that Real's cool with me just promoting me, because there still are brokers that still need to be on things. But we had a lot of like weird rules and regulations between how we say our team name or who we are or how we promote ourselves. And that really got to me. It's really not that big of a deal, but as someone that used to run an advertising agency, everything to me was like you could brand anything. Like
Yeah.
you could name, like, what do you mean I can't just call this White by Dan? It has to be White by Dan with Keller Williams on the water, Sarasota. Like, you know what I mean? Anything I did had to be that. So it was really actual the idea that you could build a business at Real. Um, and they're very supportive of that. So I think that that was huge for me. The second piece was the culture. It wasn't necessarily the community, it was the culture. Then more people were interested in finding out more. I love being
Yeah.
around people that it's not necessarily the smartest people in the room. It's people that are always looking to find out more. And whenever you're put around those people, you always want to find out more. And then we realize that that's how you become very educated, is you're just
You,
around a lot of people that want to find out more.
the one thing I learned in college, which was spending, thousands of dollars in college, was I didn't need to be the smartest person in the room. I just needed to sit next to and be around the
Yes.
smartest people in the room. And when I was one of the first people really like, I mean, Real was around, but like it wasn't known. And it
Yeah.
was kind of a small thing. And so when I looked at Real, I thought, man, like the amount of amazing people that are going to want this what we're doing is absolutely astonishing. And then you've been here 2 years. What's your 2 year critique on Real?
My critique? Like, what do I think? What constructive criticism? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, like your 2 year sit back.
I think that it's very hard for people to get around what Rebecca said. I think it's very difficult for people to understand that you don't need a brick and mortar to really succeed in this business, because it is very difficult. It's difficult to jump on calls like this and make friends, to put your camera on. Thank you, Rebecca, for putting your camera on, saying hello, by the way. It was really good to meet you. I hope to catch up with you. Um, but I think that that's very hard. Like it is very difficult to kind of like break into um it's hard to break into a culture. It is like especially as adults, let's be honest, right? No one wants to make friends. Like we're adults. So I think that when we have a brokerage where we have to go sit in a brick and mortar and go sit down in at a desk, it's easier for us to go say, "Oh, hey Bob, like good to see you again." And the next time it's like, "Hey Bob, do you have any kids?" And it's like next time it's like, "Hey Bob, how was Halloween with your kids?" Then that's where the relationships start over time as adults, right? And so I think that it's a bigger thing than just like, oh, we're a tech brokerage. I think that people need good sponsors. I think that that
Yeah.
is the biggest thing with Real. You need a really good sponsor to bring you on to make sure that you are connected with the right culture, the right people, the right stuff. Because like you could sign on to Real and not know about this culture. Like there's people in the
Yeah.
chat being like, "Hey, the culture's great." Yeah, because you've probably been introduced to like the handful of people. Like here locally, we have a pretty cool group that shares like open houses, and we have an open text group that I started. Like, I mean, not taking not pat on the back. It was more of like, we didn't have that. And then I realized when I came over, I'm like, we need this. Like, we need to have this local community. So I think that the only one thing that I don't struggle because it's me, like I jump into these things, but I think that I see other people struggle with is jumping in, getting entangled, because once you're entangled, it's a love. Like it's amazing. So if you're on this call and you're not, just keep talking to people around you or that influence you, because I made a lot more money. Like I left Keller Williams and I think I save about $12,000 from that a year, and I run at a net positive at the brokerage. So like I make money from the brokerage every year. I pay in, but it gets paid back to me. Um, and so from a business 101 standpoint, I I get way more from the brokerage than I pay in, and I don't think I could replicate that anywhere else. So
Yeah.
I love all the other things, and I would never leave for those. But even from a financial decision standpoint, I'll probably never leave Real ever. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one thing you said in there I think is really important is finding a sponsor. And I actually showed I did a video yesterday talking about the 4 questions I get asked about Real. And one of the questions I guess asked is, what do you do as a sponsor? And I think as a sponsor, your most important job is to have that meeting with that person and understand what their goals are. That way you can then go, okay, hey, you said you wanted to learn more about YouTube. Here are the courses and the classes and the people to be around that do YouTube. So I want you
Yes.
to make sure you're attending these. You want to
Yes.
learn more about Instagram. You want to learn more about this. You want to grow a team. Here are where the classes are to grow a team. I think that's exactly what a sponsor's job is, because, there's another brokerage out there that does the whole sponsorship thing. And if you don't get with the right sponsor, you're going to be lost. And what's cool about the platform here is you can have 2 sponsors, which is great, but there's so much collaboration because part of your stock gets paid back with the Elite Award
Mm.
for producing agency back to the community. And so I
Well,
really
and
love that, because you are almost forced to have to give back. And then that's what
completely.
creates this galvanized culture, in my opinion.
Well, and I think that that's the most important thing is finding someone you can lean into and ask those questions and say, "Hey, I really want to start doing this," or "Hey, I'm struggling with this." Our business is very difficult. Like there's no way around it. Um, I'm a real estate coach as well, so I'm on calls 3 days a week with many different people, and all of the problems are around the same. You know what they are? It's always trying to figure out how to utilize time better, get our voice out there, and get transactions done. That's it. But here's the thing is there's 1.5 million other things going on at the same time. So finding yourself around other people that are accomplishing those things at the same time is the most important thing that you can do. And
Yeah,
I think that
100%.
you know having a sponsor that says like, "Hey, I see you, follow this. Hey, I see you, go do this," is way stronger than like to me a brick and mortar where like the broker is only going to know me by name and maybe answer a legal question for me, and I may
Yeah.
have a question at a water cooler, but to be honest, he doesn't keep informed.
All right, everybody. I appreciate you. Dan, thank you so much, man. I got to run. I got
Of
to go
course.
do the real estate thing that we do and actually go show
Oh,
some
we
homes right now.
yeah, I got to go prep for a listing. Might have to bust out the pressure washer.
Oh, okay. Well, good thing you have it in your car. All right, we'll chat soon. Bye.
Later, buddy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.